At LV, our home insurance comes from the heart. It's not just about giving you a personal claims handler to take care of you all the way. It's about looking after you in other ways too. Like when you go direct to us, buy online and get a massive 25% discount. To see how much you could save with the Which Insurance Provider of the Year 2017, go direct to lv.com. Online discount for new customers only, excludes home emergency and home legal expenses.
Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005, you were listening to Gamertag Radio with your hosts Godfrey, Pete Rock, Parris, Pasta. Come on. Yeah.
Welcome to Gamertag Radio, episode 474. This is your host, Godfrey, and this week we have Pete Rock. Pete, what's up?
What's up, everybody in his house?
Yes, and we also have Poston J.
Also, what's up? I couldn't think of something clever to say. Thought of the moment. You got me beat, Pete. Sorry, I can't think of anything. But I am doing good, feeling good. Glad to have you guys on the show. Are we missing somebody? I feel like we're missing somebody, Danny.
Yes, we're missing Parris right now, but he's going to be. He's right now working at recording some coverage for us during that Call of Duty Championship. I believe it's happening right now as we speak in LA. So yeah, so we're gonna be playing some audio here from later on from Parris. So shout out to Parris, man. All right, guys, head over to gamertagradio.com to listen to our past episodes or post some feedback. Or you could also go to play.it and you could subscribe and all that good stuff. Make sure to share our content to your friends. Give us a call, 786-273-7GTR. That's 786-273-7GTR. Email us, fanmail@gamertagradio.com. Usually I like to play voicemails at the end of the show, but I think this was like a perfect question to start off this episode. So let's play right about now.
Hey, what's up, Godfrey and Gamertag Radio? How's it going? This is Keon from Baltimore. I was giving you guys a call in reference to Hideo Kojima. Now, we all know that, unfortunately, him and Konami are severing ties with each other, and Hideo is going to have to go off and do his own thing. But my question to you guys is, do you think that because of that, since Kojima is such a gaming genius and such a great director, do you think that Sony or Microsoft may pick him up and actually put him on their team to start working on a brand new IP? I'm sure that over the years Kojima has wanted to do that, but Konami, I'm sure, has kept him in a box with just Metal Gear. So I just wanted to get you guys' opinion on that. Thank you very much. I greatly enjoyed the interview that you guys did with Jeff Keighley. It was a very, very great show. I love the insight of some of the things that went on in the background with the Gamer Awards and all. So, but thank you very much, guys, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks.
All right, guys. So your thoughts about Kojima? Like, do you see him, going either to Sony, Microsoft, or maybe starting his own company independently?
Well, before we move forward on this, there's some breaking news that was released today.
Mm-hmm.
He's not actually leaving. It's just a restructuring within Sony. So, although it does appear...
Konami, you mean?
I'm sorry, in Konami. It does seem as though he's disappeared off of the face of the earth, because the way that they're restructuring and moving everything around, they pulled his name from everything, including the title of the game. It's no longer a Hideo Kojima game. It's now just Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Mm-hmm. So in this restructuring, all they did was just, literally just remove them, and instead of being part of the Konami production team, now it's just Kojima Productions. So while it seems like he's gone, he's not really leaving. It's just a restructuring of Konami in general. And I think they've done this in the past with other games and titles. So
Okay. All right. So
not a lot of stress. That being said, I think there is a lot of
questions,
anticipation, and questions. Obviously, I mean, every time this guy comes out with another Metal Gear Solid game, the industry flips on it. It flips, and people try to figure out what he's doing, what's coming up. So
he's a very mysterious guy.
That'll be interesting to see.
Close to his heart, but this is confuses everybody else. Everybody just took the bad news and just ran with it. I was the same way. I thought the worst case scenario. So it's comforting to know that he's still, if not employed, working with them. They wouldn't even clarify if he was full-time or contract employee at this point, because they're not going to comment on private information like that.
Well, I think the Konami PR, they were in an interview with GameSpark, it's a Japanese website, and they said he is still a Konami employee. So that right there is just, that's, you can't get any more clear than that. And they did follow up with saying, I'm unable to comment on an individual's type of employment. So while he's still listed as an employee, they didn't go into detail as to whether he's still on the board like he used to be listed as. Now, I don't know, he may just be contracted out as just another studio head, just doing studio work.
Could be just to finish
we'll
up
see what happens from there.
and then he can move on from there, which...
Well, I think there was word that was what his contract is up after this.
Well, it's curious, how, we know he was a huge part of the Silent Hills development team early on. I'd be curious to know what that has turned into now, and whether he stepped away from that because of this shift in management, or if they'll still work on that and they're just removing his name. Because notice, they started taking Hideo Kojima game, Kojima Productions, they started taking that off of logos because they are restructuring. But I'd just be curious to know how that affects the development of Silent Hill. So I would hope someone ask him that. I'd like to ask him that question.
Maybe 93?
Catch him in the bathroom?
Yeah. You never know. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a weird place to meet, though,
I mean,
Austin. I was going to say Paris.
I was just thinking back of someone meeting Reggie Fils back in a bathroom in E3, and it was a great story from the internet. So I was just like...
Wait.
I don't need to ask you to repeat it. It was a great, story from way back in the day of just some random dude meeting Reggie in the bathroom and how intimidated he was because he couldn't say anything to Reggie because he didn't want to.
That must be very
you're
awkward.
Not supposed to break protocol. You don't break protocol, even if it is Reggie in a bathroom.
But I will say, I'm excited for Microsoft.
Well, speaking of just random chatting. There's breaking news now coming out of the Microsoft front that
again
their newest system update for April now features dedicated servers for party chat.
I'm
waiting for the drum roll.
Explain about the whole dedicated servers for party chat. How that's going to work?
There is known issues, and this is historically known for all. Whether it's PC, Sony, or Microsoft, people who have NAT issues, network address translation issues, which is the ability to translate your IP address to something that the Microsoft servers in this case can understand. Most people who just go direct off of their home router or their provider's router sometimes have an issue with NAT traffic being able to connect that peer-to-peer communication, which is literally what it's doing, especially if us talking on Skype or us talking on Xbox Live Chat. So the dedicated servers are actually going to function so it doesn't cause as much overhead and improve the ability for people with NAT issues or challenges with NAT to be able to speak with people who don't. So this is just going to make the service better. It's just an improvement on an already quasi-solid product from Microsoft. So I hate to toot Danny's horn here, but the Emerald is coming through with another improvement for Xbox Live.
But this is a cool thing now. The whole voice messages thing. That's finally. I mean, look, I haven't been really using that on the 360 in a very, very long time. But it's cool that they have that option now for Xbox One.
Well, now you can. They've done a lot of functionality with being able to start accessing more features by just doing a double tap of the guide button, the Xbox button in the middle of the controller. So now, you can launch applications, do the screenshot or do video, but now you can quickly snap your messages app, and now you can have voice messages between your Xbox 360 and Xbox One consoles, which really wasn't possible before. It's still a little kludgy in my opinion. I just don't.
I was literally about to say that, Danny. Like, when's the last time you guys used it?
I use it on Smart Glass on my phone. I try not to use it on the Xbox or on the console because it just takes too long to activate. Back in the days of the 360, it worked flawless. Like, it was quick, snappy. You could, boom, do a message and be out. Now, if you literally compared the two, you could bring up the messages, type your message out and send it before, or actually you could do that on the Xbox 360 before you actually get the app up on your Xbox One, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be.
I agree. I repeat, why I love the functionality of the double tap of the home button to access snapping apps and things like that in theory, but it's still so slow, much slower than it should be for, what I think Xbox One is capable of. While they keep adding new features, I appreciate that. I would like for them to refine what's already there and speed up the whole process, because in my opinion, compared to the PlayStation 4's crossbar, Xbox One's menu is still way too slow in a lot of regards, and it's very frustrating when you're trying to do some simple thing. So I'd like to see more speed.
Didn't Sony had a major update today too?
I have not turned on my PS4 on
or an
today,
update's
so
coming.
I'm not sure.
I could have sworn I read that online that they were gonna. Yeah, it was supposedly a big update. I don't know. Search, guys. Search.
I have no idea. I don't have a PlayStation. I don't care.
I know. But still, man, it's good.
No, but overall, I think they're getting there. I just think they just need to take a little bit more time and speed up the bringing up of apps or different parts of the system. It's just not as good as it used to be. But
so you think the quality? You think the quality is not better than compared to the old console?
No, it's not. But it's getting there. And
the blades worked flawlessly for what it did, but what the one is doing is completely different, and there's a lot more, more pressure, I'm sure, on their software side of engineering the stuff. So I know they're not doing it on purpose. I'm not accusing them of making a bad OS, but it's just, it could be faster. And we are a year and a half after launch now, and I really haven't seen any speed up. I've only seen new features added on top of ones that I think should use a little bit of a tune-up.
Pasa, you're part of the preview program?
I'm not, actually. I know you guys are, so I don't get the
yeah, I gotta send you one. I have to send you an invite, so you can send all this feedback to them through the app of
I actually used it the other day for the first time.
Oh,
I've been in the preview program for 2 years, and I finally used it for something.
Awesome. Okay,
but I mean.
At least it's there, that option, So.
No, it's there. And I like the fact that if I see something that doesn't work, and it's usually there it's actually quicker to get to the report a problem part than it is for anything else.
All right.
Ironically enough.
All right.
Well, speaking of quality, because we're talking about the Xbox, the voice quality and all the improvements that they've done to Xbox Live over the last while.
Yep.
Speaking of quality, last week I had a chance to check out the starter kit from Harry's. I must say, being of the Asian persuasion, I really don't get the ability to grow a full beard like some of the people that I know. Mm-hmm. But knowing it was on the way, I tried holding off on shaving for about 2 weeks.
You beast.
From the moment, huh?
You're a beast.
As beast mode as possible with like a 1-inch little stub sticking out, right? But
you sound like Facial Brothers, Pete. I'm right there with you, man.
But from the moment I got the box and I opened it up, I could tell it was nothing but quality. From the heft of the metal handle to the slick packaging and the German precision blades that it comes with. I actually did a comparison shave between the Harry's razor and the usual razors that I use. I even used the two separate shaving creams, the one that came with the Harry starter kit and the one that I have, the one that I had here at the house. And I have to say that Harry's actually passed the test with flying colors. I was kind of skeptical.
Okay.
But the skin felt smooth and it wasn't raw like the other one actually felt afterwards. And it's funny how much you don't realize how that feels until you use something else. I've been kind of monogamous with my razors for the past 4 years, and trying something new, I was kind of hesitant. Mm-hmm. But the starter set that we got was a razor, the handle, 3 of their German engineered blades, and a bottle of shaving cream. And all of this gets shipped to your door for free if you get the starter set. So if you want, go to harrys.com, enter the code GTR at checkout, and get $5 off your first order for a starter set. That's right. With the code GTR. You can get a month's worth of shaving for just $10. That's harrys.com. Use the code GTR at checkout and change the way you shave forever.
All right, I might be using that code.
I'm just sitting here rubbing my stubble, being like, I need to buy a razor.
I have to be honest. I know, it's, we're talking about it as part of an ad, but I am convinced. I'm sold. I'm canceling my other razor subscription, and I'm actually going to start getting a Harry subscription. Pass the other one on to the kid.
All right,
let my son. He's starting to shave.
I'm probably going to do the same. We'll see. I got to test it out myself. I got to test it out
too.
So I'm probably going to order mine hopefully sometime this week. So, yeah.
This is Gamertag Radio. Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
All right, so next topic. We are going to play an interview that we recorded a week or two ago?
Yeah, about a week ago.
With David Robinson. For those that don't know who David Robinson is, he used to work at Namco years ago, and we had him on the show, and he was the one that actually talked about the first Afro Samurai game. Remember that, Posson?
I loved it.
It was
man.
us. Yeah.
He was so hype. I loved his enthusiasm.
Yeah,
and he's still just as well as informed as he was then. I really like the way he breaks down the game. But yeah, it was a pretty good interview. I enjoyed it. Got me excited.
And here's a funny story. We had him years ago, right? And he slipped. This was like in 2008. He slipped that they were working on Afro Samurai 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that audio, and I never played it.
Yeah, we didn't sleep on that.
We mentioned that to him. He was cracking up laughing.
Yeah.
This time we have him back on the show, and we wanted him to talk about the new game, Afro Samurai 2. And he also started his own company and everything. He left Namco years ago. So I'm going to play it right now, and we'll be right back after this. What's up? This is Godfrey, and also we have Poston J. Poston, what's up?
Hey, doing good, Danny. How about you?
I'm good. Let's take it back, Patrick. I know years ago, we had this person on our podcast to talk about the first game of Afro Samurai. We were like very, very hype.
I was huge fan of that series. That game was a big surprise to me. I still love that game to this day.
Love the soundtrack. Soundtrack is amazing.
God,
so now they announced that Afro Samurai 2 is coming out. So I think we have the perfect person to talk about this. We have the president and founder of Redacted Studios, David Robinson. David, welcome to the show once again.
Thanks a lot, man. It's a pleasure to be here, and I do remember you guys, and it's been a long time coming, baby.
Yeah, it has. I'm so glad we could have you back.
Yeah, man.
I'm so glad the sequel got off the ground because it looked for a while that it wasn't getting any traction. Could you kind of explain what the design process has been back since Afro Samurai launched years ago? What have y'all been up to with Part 2, and how's the development going?
Well, it was a long road, man. It took us a long time to get off the ground because Namco closed down the studio, about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. And 3 years ago, I think next month, April 1st, actually, which is hilarious. And the team really felt, the team was actually, the Afro team and a lot of Namco's internal development was brought together simply around Afro as a property for its development. And it grew to do a lot of other games outside of that, but it was the genesis of that internal team, which was pretty big between 2004 and 2008 around Afro. We had some pretty amazing cats on that team. Afro's been sort of a labor of love ever since one of my APs introduced me to the series. And then when it shipped, we shipped on the day of the entire world crashed with the financial situation, right? So it's almost like getting the Super Bowl rained out. So most importantly, when it came to shipping the game was really half finished. There were 24 levels in the original game, and we shipped with 12, right? And the total cost of the game was only $60 for all of Afro 1. And so we all felt as a team, and as people who fell in love with the property, and our partner Sam Jackson and Arisa and all that we literally had an unfinished sort of project. And so Afro 2, Revenge of Kuma, is really that. It's the second part of that story finally being realized, like the director's cut.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. And say, if there aren't fans of the series out there and they aren't quite sure what was going on, kind of explain to them where does the story of Afro Samurai 2 pick up? Obviously, Kuma was a major character in the first game in the first series, but what's kind of the plot synopsis of Afro Samurai 2?
Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to take over for where the first game left off and where the first series was supposed to go. And that's basically Kuma wakes up after being sort of dead for about 2 weeks, right? Yeah. So we take you as a player from that point where Kuma wakes up and he doesn't even know who he is. And then finds out and realizes what's happened, right? He wakes up not even realizing that, he was a robot. And he's basically RoboCop.
Yeah.
He died once. He came back. Now he's on a quest. He finally remembers what's going on, and he's got two things to do. And one is to find his younger brother, Afro, and make him pay, right? And the second is to rid the world of the headbands, which he feels has been the progenitor of all the trouble from the beginning.
Yep. Well, David, I definitely got to mention this because you're probably not going to remember, but when we had you on the show back in 2009, when you were promoting the first game, I can't remember exactly the question that I asked, that by mistake, you said, we're in pre-production for Afro Samurai 2. I was like, wait a minute, did he just reveal Afro Samurai 2? So what I did was I kept that audio and I never released it until recently, once I heard that the Afro Samurai 2 was announced. So I had to show that to the fans, like, hey, look, this is something like unreleased that, at that time I didn't really want to get you in trouble, but
yeah, we had to sleep on that one for years.
Well, I'm hoping this leads to an explosion of that, because there's a lot of soulful stories in hip-hop, and there's a lot of real cool, amazing characters. And in our next iteration, in the next game, man, we're going to really blow it out. I've wrote some scripts for some very big names, specifically for some really big names in hip-hop. And I can't let you know now, but they're going to be some really big names in the next game.
Nice. All right, awesome.
Oh, so that means we can look forward to a game based on the second series of the anime?
Oh, yeah, man. We are already in pre-production.
All right, cool, man. Thanks a lot, man.
Hey, guys. Hello.
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor? Since, obviously you guys are going to be editing this piece, can you take out any reference to the fact that there's going to be a sequel?
Okay, yeah. Okay. I can do that.
Because we haven't made any announcement whatsoever, so... that was kind of like a sneak peek for you guys, but that's just for your ears only. It's not meant to be aired at all.
Oh, definitely. I'll take it out.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah, just so like any reference would be truly appreciated. Removed. Cool. That'd be great.
Sorry for the slip up, man.
It's okay.
No, I'll definitely take it out.
It's just between us girls, so, that's it.
But I was excited ever since I heard that. I'm like, oh, there's a second one? And I was like, I kept waiting. I'm like, oh, no, what's happening?
Yeah, that was...
What's really funny is, man, we're like one of those dormant, like, desert flowers that don't bloom, for years and years until you get some water. But that's exactly what happened. We had, towards the end of Afro, we had always planned to be an episodic game and to have multiple chapters coming out. And one of the interesting things was we had multiple sort of storylines that were going to be coming out based on, the building more games in that franchise, right? We had scripts written and character designs for some really big names in hip hop, for Mos Def, and actually I had this amazing script developed for DMX. It was amazing. I mean, it really inspired us that this story was really deep, and especially that the real hero of the story has been Kuma the whole time.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what a lot of people don't really focus on, was Kuma was the one character that wanted to hold the family together, that had a lot of love. And I thought that for one, the chase of the headbands, but also the relationship between a younger brother and his older brother is really what the story is about, And that's what we wanted to express in this game. This game and where we're going to in the future, because we want this to be the Game of Thrones of hip-hop inspired action adventure. And one of the things that I want to throw out there is this was never intended to be a game, right? What we want this to be is a channel. We want this to be a show that you tune into once a month to get the latest what's next on Afro. You know, Empire kind of stole our thunder a little with this hip-hop inspired ongoing storyline, and that's what Afro is. I think the current stylings of how games are represented are obsolete. You know, we want to make a game that every week there's something new, and also when it comes to getting fan support, there's a huge amount of fan support that's kept us alive. And what people don't appreciate is it's seeing those fan sites and seeing people dress up at Comic-Con. Those are the little things that made all of us dev guys on the team look at each other and say, they still believe, man, we got to do it, we got to do it. And at our darkest times, it was those cats who dressed up and who wrote about Afro and got tattoos and all that let us know that we had to keep making Afro because it's pretty hot. It's sort of like a love affair of the hood. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I enjoy the first one. I love the soundtrack and everything. One of the things that was frustrated was there were certain levels. I don't know if it was because of the design, but personally for me, I found it was very difficult. Have you gotten like feedback from the fans about that from the previous game?
Yeah, that's all my fault, man. I take every single one of the things that went wrong with the game as my fault, because my guys worked 4 years straight for 70 hours a week. You know, most of us didn't have a Christmas for 4 years, and all of those decisions ultimately come down to me calling the ball at the last minute. And one of the things that we had trouble with was we bit off too much. Right, we were trying to complete 24 levels with $6 million, and this game we've learned is that when it comes to the storytelling, we need to make sure that we have people that can handle the epicness of our story. So I brought in one of my close friends and business partners, Jim DeFleece, who wrote the American Sniper book, to help me write it, because he does storytelling so well, and I was secure in that. My previous writer, Paul Gardner, was unavailable, and he's sort of my creative partner. When it came to the gameplay, one of the things that we had the hardest time with was, we were a Japanese studio in America. So a lot of our tuning and camera and even controls was done for a Japanese consumer. So, we had reverse controls. We had a lot of stuff that, once we got our heads out of the clouds, we realized, holy smokes. Right, there's so many things that were broken that we had to just ship the game and couldn't fix. Man, I had over maybe 600 fixes that I just could not get into the submission. That would have made a lot of the frustration go away. But, when you throw that ball, man, it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so for this game, we made sure that we were going to fix the major things that made the last game frustrating. One, the combat system was much more complex than the previous system. It was too complex, and it didn't open up quickly enough for players to really enjoy and get into it. The second was the camera. We really focused on fixed cameras in this game so that the player could just focus on having fun and not chasing around the camera like a cameraman, right? Which is the worst, right?
Yeah, you never want to do that.
Our combat system is pretty tight. I love it. It's based on the chip system, which I think is going to go really well, and it fits into our story system. It's really unique. So check this out. When you play Afro, you're playing as Kuma, who can absorb or basically download and record all the different fighting styles of everyone you fight. Right? So, and if people pay attention to the first series, that was the one thing that Kuma was trying to teach Afro at the end of the first series. He dropped one of his swords. He knew he could beat Afro. But he dropped one of his swords and says, younger brother, I'm going to beat you with one sword. I'm going to beat you in your style, right, to show you how I'm dominant. And that really had an impact on me. And so with this new game, which is why we wanted it to be ever-flowing, we don't want it to end as just our first chapter, our first game, is that every new character that we bring into the series is going to have a unique fighting style and a new soundtrack to go with it. And with that, the player can adopt that fighting style, and their character is going to sort of do this really cool flash where they look like the other characters. You'll be playing multiple characters throughout this epic, and so you'll see a lot of new characters being added to the franchise. Right, so we have we have the RZA, who's going to be one of our first two characters in the game, and he has a unique fighting style, and it's going to be really awesome, man. It's going to be really
I really like that. And I was actually just watching some gameplay earlier y'all did from PAX East. Could you kind of break down the style system? Because I noticed you could pick between Afro style, Kuma style, and Master style. I think you just touched on that a little bit right now, but that's something you can switch on the fly, or is that something you're picking at the start of the level and leveling up? How does that work?
No, man, no. So what we do is you can switch it on the fly, and we want it to be tactical, right? We want you to be able to, they're going to be, each enemy is a puzzle, right? You won't be able to just mash through the game, right, like in the previous game.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is each new character has a specific style where you can open them up and then close them.
Okay.
But you won't know which style you'll need. Some characters will need a more sort of aggressive style, and Kuma's a really fast, aggressive character, right? He can jump all around the screen. It's a really great long-range attacks. Afro was a very defensive fighter. You know, you see in the series, he didn't really go chasing people around, man. He waited for a fool to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Then he was in there. You know what I'm saying? And so when it comes to the bigger characters in the game, those characters are pretty much one-hit kills, right?
Yeah.
In their way, the player just runs up and starts wailing on them, they're going to get killed, right? So they have to use Afro to interact with the character. He's jumping all around them. He's using a lot of sort of the contextual combat that we had in the first game, where you could grab a character, stand on him, and jump off and do moves. So that's how you can open up a character. But then you got to switch your style. They're going to be, if you see the wheel in the demo, we're going to have close to 15, 20 different styles, right? It's pretty much going to be unlimited to our storytelling, right?
Yeah.
So, but the new characters that you meet will have a specific weakness, and you'll have to have that style in order to exploit that weakness. But each enemy will require multiple styles to defeat, so the player will have to manage how he's upgrading each one of those styles. Each individual style is upgraded, because if Kuma takes a hit, part of those chips actually take damage.
Okay, yeah.
So if you need Afro style, and all of a sudden you're in there and you got your face clipped, and you actually, you know, his Afro chip will go offline, and you'll have to wait for that Afro chip to come back on before you have to fight in a style that is not conducive to beating that specific enemy. But you can also upgrade that chip so that it can be tougher and has specific points where you can make it faster and open up certain moves, because we wanted it to be tactical, and we wanted players to have an opportunity as these new characters and new storylines come in. You want the story to fit in the actual gameplay context, and that's why having each new character give you a style that actually is needed to move through the game is going to be really cool.
Very cool, man. I really like that description. Thank you. You can really envision that very well.
I mean, have you guys even announced which consoles is going to be available, or not really yet?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be an Xbox, PlayStation, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Steam.
Okay, so not last gen, purely trying to do a next gen Afro Samurai 2. Cool.
Yeah. We're trying to do a next gen. Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
And that fits with our style, right? We want to be digital. We want to get fan support. We want to get fan input, and that's going to be the super hottest part of this enterprise, man. Is that we feel that this franchise is owned by the community, right? The community that supported it. So we want to be able to have a format, which we couldn't do in the past, which is if people don't like a part of the game, where people want a new character in the game, where they want to influence it, we have the opportunity with that, with multiple chapters and new enemies and that kind of thing.
Why go digital and not like the last game? It was basically in retail stores.
Two major reasons. One, since we want to really change the whole paradigm for delivering a game experience. We want to be more like Walking Dead, where you become a part of the franchise and you just follow the franchise till its completion. You don't have to worry about that. It becomes cost prohibitive if you're kicking out a new disc every month or so, right? And you're also beholden to publishers at that point, right? Whereas, you know, we're an indie studio. We're currently working with an amazing publisher, Versus Evil, which is all digital publishing, right? But in the end, you know, when it comes to content, a lot of the fans have to appreciate that we are alone in this. And is trying to get this story out, trying to get this franchise going. So we need to make sure that we can actually kick these episodes out and make the game fresh year over year. And if we were going to retail, that would really restrict what we could do effectively, even taking in fan requests or taking in fan support. You know, we couldn't do that if we had to go to a disc and go through the whole disc process.
I mean, how many episodes are we going to see this for Afro Samurai 2?
There are I don't think I'm able to say, but there's more than 3.
Okay. All right, cool. All right.
More than the figures you have, right? But all I can say about it is
All right, cool.
I think that about covers it. I'm just happy it's being made. I'll be a fanboy for this because it's out of the longest time I didn't ever think this was going to happen, and then now seeing gameplay from PAX East, talking with you, David. I mean, I'm liking this. I'm liking the format that you guys are trying to approach because I do agree that, I do feel like there's a void in Afro Samurai in my life. I could go back and watch the show, I could watch the movie, I could play the game, but like it still doesn't fill the void. And, having something to look forward to weekly and monthly, I don't know. I think that is a good idea. It surprised me, but once you broke that down, I can definitely see the benefits y'all get from going the digital route versus the traditional retail market.
Yeah, also for me, though, there's a lot of new characters, because Afro's blood is hip-hop. Each new chapter is going to be a new soundtrack from a different artist. And a lot of these artists are brand new, man. Right off the street, these guys are hungry and amazing. And under the leadership of RZA, who's always been our musical supervisor and our director, we've come up with some amazing joints, man. They're just going to blow people away.
Well, I have to say, man, that when I played the first game, I believe it was the first level. As soon as you started, that song was like, it was very, really cool, man, from the soundtrack, man. It was very, it got my attention big time. So I hope we could get to hear more like that for the new game, man, because the soundtrack, it was amazing, and I hope it's in stores too. Can we buy the songs too? Maybe available?
Yeah, you hit it right on the head, man. One of the things we're going to be doing is this game is all about hip-hop and games, man. If you guys ever seen the new TV show, Empire, they're as much about hip-hop as they are TV show. We're as much about hip-hop as we are game. You know what I'm saying, brother? Mm-hmm. So we're going to be selling the soundtracks per chapter is going to be a huge part of our release because we're really like a rock opera. We're really like a hip-hop opera, where the rap is actually telling the story of the game and giving the player an understanding of what's actually going on from an emotional context. And so it's really important to us. So, yeah, man, we're going to be selling every track. Namco wouldn't let us sell the music last time, right, which was crazy. We had like over 800,000 downloads through BitTorrent of the soundtrack, and we couldn't sell a single copy because we weren't allowed to.
I find that crazy.
Yeah, we did. It was within 48 hours. Within 48 hours of the game's release, someone had broke the game, stripped out the soundtrack, and was giving it away.
All right. Well, Pawson, I know you're excited.
Yeah,
I'm hyped too.
Very much so. Wow.
For more information, people get more information about Afro Samurai 2, where they could go.
We got a Twitter, right, at Afro Samurai Game. And we also have the website, and keep a looking out for us, man, because we're going to be at every major trade show, so come out and see Afro play. Give us your opinions. Tell us what you like and don't like, because we're doing this for the fans, man, and it's important to get your feedback on it.
Awesome, man.
Well said.
All right. So thanks a lot, David.
Yeah, thank you. It was great.
Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
All right, so we're back here. That was the interview about Afro Samurai 2. And here's the craziest thing, Pawson. I thought this was just a full game. Mm-hmm. And it was during the interview that I learned that this was going to be an episodic
I was the same way.
I was like, really? Okay, I like that. Yeah. Pretty smooth.
But after he broke it down of like the advantages that they get versus the traditional $60 retail release, I fully agree. A game that they basically are going to use as an Afro Samurai platform to update. So basically that is the hub that you go to get new Afro Samurai content direct from the original creator out of Japan, with the RZA's musical oversight, executive producing, determining what music goes into the game. I mean, it sounded like a win-win across the board because, as an anime fan, a Japanese culture fan, as sure as a huge hip-hop fan, I mean, this is hitting all the marks for me. And it's visually from the gameplay that I've seen from PAX East that they've already shown, it looks like it is just as fun as the original, but more finely tuned, with multiple fighting styles. So you can learn Afro's fighting style, their master's fighting style, Kuma's fighting style, and possibly more stuff to be added down the road. Because again, this is an open project. They're going to have what they have at launch, and they'll try to update it weekly and monthly. And it certainly got me all on board. I like the idea a lot once it was explained.
Obviously, everybody, I don't even know anybody who isn't a fan of Wu-Tang and the RZA. I know that in the first one, he really didn't get a chance, even though he's listed as a music director for it. He didn't get a chance to like give it his, give it 100%. So hopefully now with the album behind them, and he's got full time to focus, that he's able to. And the last game had an amazing soundtrack.
Oh hell yeah!
I loved it, and that was with him not being able to give 100%. So can you just imagine what he's going to come with now? My only concern with the game itself, though, was the last game. The camera was whack.
Yeah.
Oh, we brought it up. We brought up a lot of things.
There were
I mentioned to him during the interview that there was some parts of the game that I was really frustrated. And, and he was like, look, man, that was my fault. Blame it on me. Don't worry. We've been working on everything, all the feedback from the first game. We made the changes for the second one. I was like, all right, good. That's good. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, it looks good. And certainly from the gameplay that I've seen, it was an indoor area, but the camera was not the adversary this time around. It looked like it was locked right onto where it needed to be. So I'm sure they took a lot of that feedback going forward.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. All right, so right now we're going to play an audio from Parris live at the Call of Duty Championship. We'll be right back.
Hey, this is Parris with Gamertag Radio, and I'm here at day 2 of the Call of Duty Championships here in Los Angeles. And this is my first time experiencing any of this. It's been crazy. So I went and I grabbed someone to tell me all about it. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Mike Mejia, senior producer at Sledgehammer Games on Advanced Warfare.
Yeah, thank you for joining. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time. So here's my question before we get into the championships. Advanced Warfare, it's been out now, about a half a year now. So how's it been for Sledgehammer? How's the reception been of the game?
Oh, it's been great, man. I think, one word, it's I could cement it, is true validation. Well, that's 2 words, but it's just been a validating experience for us, and we're humbled that the fans and pro players and the whole world has kind of really embraced what we did with the franchise. We were out to set a change with the franchise. We wanted to fundamentally transform the way you play Call of Duty, but still retain some of that, what Call of Duty is, right? And I think, the fans and everyone has been super supportive. They've embraced it. They've told us that they love it, and we're seeing it now, right? The level of competition at COD Champs has changed because of the EXO. And it's been great, man. And ever since we've been just, if we've been listening to the community at 100% before the launch of the game, I think we're now at 150% because it's just like full focus on updating the game, rebalancing the game, adding new content in there, and it's just been great. The social media has completely transformed the way we communicate with our fans, and now it's just been like, hey, this feels broken, can you guys look into this? And we look at it and we're like, yep, actually we got to go change that, let's look at that. And it's just been great to do that. And the team back home at Sledgehammer has been fantastic with the live operations of everything. So we couldn't be more happier, man, and proud of what we've delivered.
Oh, absolutely. And I just remember prior to launch, you guys had a big emphasis on esports. So obviously we're here at the Call of Duty Championships right now. And you mentioned already that you tailored the game, so to speak. You made changes to the game, and I feel like just watching everything that I've seen today, I get it now, because I'm not a big esports guy. I mean, I understand the popularity of it, but actually being here and seeing how just excited everyone is, sitting in the crowd and watching these players. So just kind of tell me what the Call of Duty Championships are all about, and where do you see it going forward?
Yeah, look, I think for us at the studio at Sledgehammer, we were always looking at like the competitive scene and how it was kind of bubbling up when we were first starting our game. Right after we finished Modern Warfare 3, we started working on the EXO. We knew that we wanted to change the game. So we thought, it's going to be good to have this system in there, and it's going to be fun. But what if we add that layer of competition into the game and maybe change the dynamic and change the tactic that the players use? So, I think it was a big focus for us, but it was also complementary to what we were doing for the casual audience, right? And so we could never really design the game around just full-on true competitive play, right? 4v4. That's not really rude. That's not really true, because people in the world play 6v6. Sometimes they play ground war 9v9, and they play for fun, So for us, it was always about marrying those two experiences. How do we get the competitive aspect of the game and then get the fun entertainment side of it and build those two worlds together, right? And I think they both complement each other very well now. If you look at the EXO and everything that you could do, watching a championship match is now much more entertaining from a spectator view, because there's jumping, there's a bunch of stuff happening, and it's really fun and visceral to watch. You kind of get hooked in. You're like, whoa, that was insane. So for us, it was always about the player in mind, the pro player, and then also there's a little bit of that spectator kind of, we want to paint something really cool for the audience to enjoy and watch, right? So I think that's how we would get big as a esport. We'll get really big if it makes it entertaining, right? Who knows? Maybe a couple years from now, ESPN is covering it, and that would be amazing, right? So I think we planted some seeds here, and I think we're gonna keep moving forward.
Well, I think just the fact that it's on Xbox Live streaming live right now, so you're reaching millions of people as we speak. But like I said, I'm completely brand new to this, so for me to be able to spend the last few hours sitting out there in the stands and actually just watching these amazing players, like, look, I play Call of Duty, I play first-person shooters. I'm nowhere close to any type of level that these guys are playing right now. So that brings me to my next question. From the development side, seeing these top players play your game, I mean, how impressive is that to you? Are they doing things that you didn't even expect as a developer?
Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, there's some moves and combos and quick ADS shots that they're doing that we were just like, what? I mean, I saw a guy boost slide to a boost jump to a sniper one shot, right? Like I've never done that, right, in the game. But, I think that's all because of how we kind of approached it when we were designing the game. We actually really wanted to embrace those guys. And you know what we did? We actually brought them to the studio before we even had the big kind of reveals and all that stuff. We brought them in and we said, hey guys, here's what we're doing. Here's what we're thinking about taking the game forward. What do you guys think of this? And it just kind of helped that conversation about what they kind of want to see with the movement change. And they kind of just helped us all bring it together. And we brought in a consultant, Ray. He used to be a ex-pro player. He was very successful with Team Envious, and even before that with other teams. He was great, and we have him at the studio and talking to him about stuff and being able to play with him. He goes crazy. He goes like 30-0, and he just kills us all the time. But it's good to have that seed at the studio because it helps us kind of tap into that, whenever we need to. So impressive. The guys on the right now, their competitive nature has just gone up to the next level, man. So it's really cool to see.
Oh no, absolutely. Like I said, I've just been completely blown away with some of the techniques.
You got to that point where you're like, I should try that next time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I can give you a perfect example. There was one guy, he was trying to defuse the bomb, so he's kind of behind a car or whatever it was. And the other guy is on a sniper rifle, and he just kept doing this hop, and then he found just this little corner, and it just zapped him one shot. And the crowd just erupted,
Yeah, it's just good to have that kind of experience too from the crowd, because even though that player is actually doing that, it brings an entertainment value to the sport, which I think, as a sport, football, basketball, whatever, I mean, it's a sport, but it's competitive, but it's also fun to watch, right? So I think we've built all those tools into the game to make sure that happens.
So final question for me. We're in day 2 of this, so by the time people hear this, the championship will already be over. But who's your favorite? Who do you think is going to take the whole thing?
I don't know. That's changed in the last hour, or even the last couple of days. I was actually one of my favorites was Epsilon. I wanted to see the Europeans kind of come in at that, and be in the finals. And I think we still have a shot for that. I think Aware Gaming is currently playing. There's in the upper bracket, so that'd be kind of cool to see in a European team, at least in the finals. That would be awesome. I wouldn't call them a favorite, but I think watching Optic, Matt's a really good friend of ours, and it's always great to see him and how he kind of plays the game is very entertaining, right? So I don't know. I always call it watching Michael Jordan play, right? Like that's how kind of Matt Nadeshot when he plays, he's an awesome player. So it's always good to see them in there. But yeah, man, Denial Sports right now, that would be great to see. Those guys are killing it right now. I think they just did an upset on Optic.
That was the one I was watching. Yeah, I did. That was insane.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I either one of those three would be great to see them in the finals, or even take the rings, right? Have you seen the rings? The rings are.
No, I have not.
Oh, so what we do is we're actually gonna, outside of the prize money, right? We did the Call of Duty Championship trophy, and then this year we're introducing the MVP trophy for the most valuable player. And then we also have the 4 rings, so each guy gets a ring. It's awesome. So,
again, just like I said, I haven't been big into esports, but just from today being at this event and just seeing how passionate the spectators are, and obviously, I mean the players themselves are like rock stars walking around here. So it's
I think even like podcasters, I remember like a Modern Warfare 3, the championship for that. Everyone was like wearing shorts and really casual, man. Like we've grown up in the last couple of years, man, and I think it's great for our gaming culture that we're actually doing that, right? Like nice suits and they're all very professional and everyone's just kind of elevated. And I think if we keep doing this, it's going to be great for the industry and for gamers everywhere.
Oh, completely agree. So, Mike, again, thank you. I really appreciate your time. All right, thank you.
Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
You were listening to Gamertag Radio.
All right, thank you, Parris, and 4-3 to you too.
Indeed.
All right, so we're gonna be playing two, I believe, two reviews from Poston J. Poston, you've been on point this past couple weeks, man.
Too
right?
many games
Busy.
coming out, one after the other.
Are you
double down the
complaining?
efforts? No, I mean,
Are you complaining so many games or no?
No. When I sit down with my first draft, I'm complaining. Then be like, oh my god, what am I even going to write and say here? But the final product, I'm happy with. So yeah.
Well, before we mention the games they're going to be reviewing now.
Yeah.
I believe next week you guys gonna talk about Battlefield, right?
Yes.
The Battlefield game. Okay.
Battlefield.
And I know we got it from EA, but I think it was better for Pete and Poston to take their time to play their game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you guys to be rushing it. You know, I know there's reviews everywhere, but I think taking your time until you feel comfortable to talk about the game feels a lot professional and more organized, in my opinion.
I agree.
Instead of just rushing it.
I agree. Plus, we're talking about COD. You know, we've got Parris over at the COD championships. We don't want to bring up the competition, right?
Yeah.
I think it's only fair that we give each of them their own shine. So
Next week will be Battlefield and something else that starts with a B. That's also pretty damn awesome.
Starts with a B.
Bloodborne? Maybe you've heard of it. Kind of a big deal.
I forgot. yes.
Let me say this. I'll be reviewing it next week along with Battlefield, but like after putting maybe only like 10 hours into that game, Bloodborne's something special, man. That's all I can say. It really is something special. And if you have a PS4, you need to be playing this game. But again, full review coming next week. I'll cover it all.
Okay, because I have a couple questions, Poston, so
I got you.
We'll cover those next week.
I got you.
All right, so now we're going to be playing the Devil May Cry. This is a remastered, you can say?
This is a remake of what it was called DMC, Devil May Cry in the last generation, but I use numbers, don't confuse people. It's Devil May Cry 5, the fifth in the series. That was a reboot on 360 and PS3 that basically was a prequel to a prequel. So the first appearance of Dante, the first time he beats his brother, the first time he discovers his powers. So a lot of people, I feel like, didn't get a chance to check out that game, one part because they hated the way Dante looked, which I guess is an opinion. I got over that pretty fast. And a lot of people just didn't play it because a lot of other things came out 2 years ago during that time frame. But listen to the review. We'll talk about it afterwards. But I think it's something you should check out.
All right, let's play it right now.
Hey, everybody. Patrick here, back with a new review for this week. This one's for all you action game fans out there because we're talking Devil May Cry Definitive Edition for the Xbox One and PS4. Now, if you didn't play DMC5 last generation, you missed out on one of the best action experiences that the PS3 and 360 offered. Luckily, this new version of DMC not only looks better, but plays better too. The game runs at 1080p at 60 frames per second, which gives it a fresh coat of next-gen paint and buttery smooth control over your character. The new lighting, textures, and character facial animations really do look incredible. Graphically, it's on the same level as a lot of recent PS4 and Xbox games, making it hard to believe the game first came out 2 years ago. The Definitive Edition is broken into two main parts. The main story, where you play as a young Dante discovering his demon heritage and setting out to save the world, and Virgil's Downfall, a direct sequel to the main story where you play as Dante's twin brother. Both Dante and Virgil have unique weapons, abilities, and moves that only they can use. You can level them up individually by spinning orbs you collect from defeating enemies. As expected from previous games in the series, DMC5 offers a plethora of difficulty options to match your level of skill. Easy, medium, and hard are all available when you first start playing, and you unlock very hard when you complete the game. After that, there's 4 more difficulty settings available to unlock, each harder than the last. Some notable highlights include disabling your ability to use items, including healing items, and making your enemies can kill you in only one hit. Hardcore gamers will not be disappointed by these options. Additionally, 2 new features help round out the package: Hardcore Mode and Turbo Mode. Hardcore Mode is a modifier you can enable that ups the difficulty even more when activated. It increases enemy damage, reduces the window you have to parry or evade an attack, and changes the Devil Trigger ability to be less overpowering than it is in the default setting. It also rebalances the scoring system, so it's much more difficult to keep a combo chain going. Turbo Mode, on the other hand, is fairly self-explanatory. It speeds up the gameplay by an extra 20%, and believe me when I say this, you do not want to turn this off. The faster, the better. It's way more fun. Finally, there's the unlockable Bloody Palace mode that returns from previous games that you get for beating Dante's and Virgil's story. It challenges you to defeat after wave of foes until you fall in battle, basically. Go until you die. Your high scores are uploaded to a global leaderboard, so it's a great way to practice your Devil May Cry skills while also bragging to your friends and having a record of how good you can get. Overall, DMC Definitive Edition is an outstanding package that would make a fine addition to any action game fan's collection, and at a cost of only $40, it's a great value too. With Bayonetta 2 exclusive to the Wii U, this is one of the best, if not the best, action experiences on the Xbox and PlayStation 4 available now. And finally, for all those people out there who still just straight up hate the new Dante design, developers were nice enough to throw in 4 extra skins that you can put on at any time, including Dante's Devil May Cry 3 appearance and the classic look from the very first game that started it all. So you're welcome. Play it as you will. And now kick it back to the guys for any follow-up questions.
All right, so questions. I know in the beginning you talked about his looks. Did that bother you at all? You didn't care or what?
I mean, I'll be full disclosure. I was definitely on the hate bandwagon when that first teaser trailer came out. And he's like, "My name is Dante," and I'm like, "What is this crap? Where is the real Dante?" But after playing that game, I fell in love with it. It from a
you fell in love with him? Okay,
that's you put my words in my mouth. Yeah, but. DMC5, honestly, after playing it a second time on the Xbox One with the superior hardware and the visuals and the 1080p, 60 FPS, all that pretty stuff thrown in there, I gotta say, as far as DMC goes, this one is right near the top. I still think 3 is the best, but you could put 5 right there in the second place, right with the first one, honestly. Because
I like the way that and like you said in your review, that you can go back and put a skin of the old of the old Dante and put on, and like you said, I played it. What was it, 2 years ago? Actually, no, it was 2013 that it came out, summer 2013. Yeah. I dug it. I totally love the game, the style. I don't know if I want to spoil it. The ending with the brother.
No.
That's why I tried to be vague in the review, because I don't know how many people know the story of DMC. But I agree, Pete. That was a great setup for those characters, and I'd like to see them make a sequel in the same vein, because I love the new voice actors. I think they're great for the brothers. It felt fresh. And the one thing I will say about this, about the skins, Pete, what impressed me more is I played a lot of games where you can have costumes or skins, but they look so bad in cutscenes because they contrast too much. They went out of their way to make sure these skins look just as good in the cutscenes as they do in gameplay. So, when you're playing as Devil May Cry 3 Dante, he looks like he belongs, like he was written into that role. And you can't even picture the standard short hair, black hair Dante that comes in the game. Same thing, you can play as DMC1 Dante, where he's older and as an adult, has the full code. I mean, it works. It's fun. It's a nice little visual addition. You can do the same thing to Virgil and Virgil's game mode. You can play as the classic Virgil skin from Devil May Cry 3. It's just things like that I appreciate as a fan. It doesn't change the gameplay. The gameplay is still just as good either way. But if that somewhat bothers you, that what Dante looks like, you have a choice. And I really I appreciate that from the developers. That was a fun addition to play through. As I played as DMC3 Dante through the game, and I had a blast. The game was even more fun the second time around.
So now we're going to be talking about the second game they're going to be reviewing.
Another one.
Resident Evil Revelations 2. I played part 1 on my 3DS.
Yep. What were your thoughts? Did you like it?
I loved it.
I didn't like that game at all.
Really? For a handheld?
Now, I respect the 3DS version. I played a little bit of it, but then I went and played more of the port they put on 360 and PS3. I
that's
hated
different.
that. But as a 3DS title, I think it was very impressive what they accomplished with that technology. So I give it that. But as I'll say in the Revelations 2 review, I definitely prefer the sequel to the original.
Okay.
But run it now.
So we're going to be playing it right now.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
Hey GTR community, Patrick here, and I'm back with a new review for you guys. This time we're discussing Resident Evil Revelations 2 for the Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4, PS3, and PC. Now, since the monumental success of Resident Evil 4 a decade ago, it's been hard to think back to a time that the series wasn't a third-person shooter. Lines of fandom have been drawn to the sand, with both sides arguing about which style of Resident Evil they prefer. While opinions on Resident Evil 5 and 6 are sharply divided, it pleases me as a fan to state that Revelations 2 falls more in line with the style of Resident Evil 4 survival horror versus the Hollywood action movies that 5 and 6 were that followed it. Now, if you didn't play Revelations Part 1, don't worry about it. Revelations 2 doesn't overwhelm you with exposition or references to the previous game. It just fills you in on the important plot points and brings you up to speed. Since Revelations 2 can be bought episodically or as a bundle, the game is divided up over 4 acts with 2 chapters per act. In single player, you take on the role of series veterans Claire Redfield and Barry Burton. The first character of each act you play as is Claire, and the second part you play as Barry. Each of the 2 characters is paired up with an AI companion. Claire teams up with Moira Burton, who is Barry's daughter, while Barry is teamed up with a little girl named Natalia. Each of the 2 companions have their own unique abilities, but they're predominantly non-combat roles. They can't use guns, for example. It is up to you as the player, armed to the teeth with said guns, to defend and escort your companion. Now, Moira has the ability to blind enemies with her flashlight she carries, allowing you as the player to get the upper hand in fights. She also has a crowbar that she can use to open locked doors to help you get through, and she can deal a significant amount of damage to enemies from behind with said crowbar. But she can also unlock treasure chests as well that you as the player cannot. And she can also craft and throw grenades, making her a very useful support character. Natalia, on the other hand, is just a young girl, so she can't really do all the things that Moira can as an adult. So Natalia can't directly take on foes, but she does support some unique powers instead. She can not only see monsters through walls, she can also tag their weak points to point out to you as the player where to shoot, but she can also see invisible enemies that you can't see at all, and you have to work together to be able to hit them. Now for the fun part, the co-op. While you could play through the game by yourself, I really don't recommend it. Why? Because this game is infinitely more enjoyable with a friend than babysitting a robot. With a second person taking control of Moira and Natalia, you open up a ridiculous new number of strategies to divide and conquer your adversaries, as opposed to just protecting this little walking companion. Asymmetrical teamwork is the name of the game here, so bring your bit of shooting, footwork, and strategies with you, and you will be well rewarded. However, full disclosure here, it takes an open-minded friend to get the most out of the cooperative experience. Some people will find it boring to play as the companion characters because they can't shoot and do the same things the main character do, but others will find it an exciting challenge. So the key is finding the kind of friend you think would enjoy playing as a second player in this kind of game, but it is a blast. And the best part? Split-screen co-op. Yay! Remember when that wasn't a big deal and that was commonplace in games? Well, it isn't, but thankfully it is in this game because it wasn't in the previous Revelations. And if you don't have someone to play with locally, you can still play online co-op. So the main campaign for Revelations 2 is a little on the short side. You're looking about 4 to 5 hours on your first playthrough. But really, the real meat and potatoes of the experience is the raid mode. Now, raid mode returns from Revelations 1. If you played Resident Evil 4, it's very similar to the Mercenaries mode that was in that game and Resident Evil 5. So in raid mode, you play as multiple different heroes and villains you can pick. You can level them up individually. And you attempt to basically clear a series of missions by killing all the enemies as fast as possible, getting to, from one side to the other as fast as possible. A couple of different variations of the gameplay. But essentially your goal is to collect money, collect XP, collect medals, and you can use this to get new skills, new guns, upgrade your existing guns, a lot of neat stuff. There's a lot of RPG elements into this game, and it's designed to be a game that you want to play through again and again and again. Again, this is also playable in co-op, and it is an absolute blast to play because you can play with a friend, and your friend, guess what? They get guns now. So you're both on the same playing field. You can use the same abilities, the same weapons, and it's more just like a buddy-to-buddy, action experience separate from the more horror experience of the main campaign. So it is a ton of fun. And you're definitely going to be coming back to this again and again because this is where the key replay value is, and it is a blast to play. So all in all, for $40, Revelations 2 is a pretty sweet deal. But again, I would only recommend you pick this up if you already know of a friend that would be cool playing co-op with you in an asymmetrical style. Because again, it's not like Halo. It's not you just being, an unstoppable force plus another unstoppable force. It's, more strategy and teamwork. And it's very unique and different, but it's very satisfying too when you come out on top. And with that, I'll send it back to the crew if they have any questions. Peace.
I know there's a co-op in this game, but I know in the review you said not to play. You could play a single player, but you prefer for you to play with a friend.
Yeah,
right? That's a better way to play the game. But what if I don't feel like playing online? I'm just want to be playing this, all by myself. I feel that the computer is controlling the other character. They're a little bit slow. I don't know when it comes to like moving around and all that stuff. So
yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I mean, if you played Resident Evil 4, you understand the mechanics of how protecting actually worked. This is a bit more direct, where you can't just hide your companion in a trash can for the whole game. As convenient as that would be, I wish you could. But no, it's just not fun to babysit a computer character. I mean, very few games get that right. Last of Us, BioShock Infinite, maybe are better examples. This is not one of them. So I 100% recommend you play it in co-op, just because the second player, when played with a person, you just have so much more opportunity to like explore and just outwit your enemies. It's amazing how much of a distraction a second player can be. Even if they don't have a gun, you can accomplish some really cool, useful things that you would not be able to do by yourself, because by yourself, it's just you standing back, shooting frigates close, standing in front of your partner, shoot. It's just repetitive and not fun, and it's way more fun, especially split screen when the person's next to you, to have a strategy ongoing. You go here, I'll go to this, you be a distraction, I'll run over here and flank them. I mean, it almost becomes like a tactical game in a sense, but it's more of like you're just trying to survive and keep your friend alive. And I like that vibe a lot. It's been a long time since I played a game with I felt like that sense of responsibility to not only protect my friend, but also rely on them, because, they can do some cool things that I can't do as the player. And as we work together, it just makes the game not only more fun, but you get so much more done. Like, some of the parts of the game are really challenging, and I couldn't even imagine going back through and playing them by myself, because playing them with a friend, especially like boss fights, they're just so much more inventive to do a 2-player boss fight versus the standard shoot its weak point until it dies.
I think it's time for fan mail.
Fan mail at gamertagradio.com.
Sounds good.
Fan mail time?
All right.
Fan mail.
All right, so we have our first international voicemail. We're going to play. Let's play right now. This call is from Australia. Shout out to our listeners from all the way over there in Australia.
Aussie. Oi.
Oi. All right, let's play it right now.
Yo, what's up, Gamertag Radio? My name's Paddy. I'm from Adelaide, South Australia. I don't know if this is your first international call, but if it is, yeah. I just want to say what up to the crew. I love the show. Listen to it every week. Funny story, when I first heard this was a hip-hop podcast, and I was like, Parris, the devil made me do it, Parris? Pete Rock, the producer extraordinaire, Godfrey, the parrot from Aladdin. This is going to be incredible. And it wasn't man, but I've still listened to it ever since and enjoy it. I ain't got a question, but I've just more got a statement. I just want to talk about Sunset Overdrive. Now, I purchased Sunset Overdrive because of reviews from yourself, Godfrey, from other publications, and it seemed good. I played it, and I'm going to make this real easy for you, Godfrey. That game is that's terrible, man. That's a piece of beep. If it was, I hate the music. I hate the humor. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if it was Eddie Murphy doing the voice and a hip hop background, I might have loved it. But I just can't stand it. The game's got no direction. I mean, it has got direction. Collect a part for some piece of beep machine that no one cares about. Yeah, man, I hated it. So look. Parris, if you want a copy of this game to stream it, I will send you my copy, free of charge. It's coming from Adelaide, Australia. It's probably going to take 2 years to actually get to you, but I'm happy to just give you that game because I am never, ever playing that game again. Anyway, love the show, love all the criticisms, best podcast in the world, all that crap, and I will be listening next week, and I hope you play this because it's cost me a lot of money. Anyway, love you guys. Peace.
Wow, he is not a fan of Sunset Overdrive. I believe he's a fan of Parris.
High five.
All right, so that's good. What are your thoughts, Pete? His voicemail was pretty funny.
Well, shout out for spending your coin on a call to us. Appreciate it. Love the support, especially on the other side of the world. Yeah. It's always interesting to hear opinions of our fans around the world.
Yeah.
I have to mirror it. I'm not a fan of Sunset, and I'm not. It just didn't click for me. I applaud you for sticking to your guns and you like the game. It wasn't for me.
Okay. Yeah, you definitely said your piece more than enough times, Danny, and I think we all respect
I don't
your
need I don't need to bash
pretty heavily.
I think we've probably done that way more. This is actually we're now beating that dead horse.
Yeah, we are beating the crap out of that horse now.
All right, so you guys have any fan mail emails before I play the next voicemail? Pick some. There's a couple good ones there.
I actually got one from Cameron Cooper from San Diego.
Ooh, San Diego.
Love the weather out there.
Hey, wait a minute. Close to Parris. Parris is around. Okay.
You guys should go check out his. You guys should go compare tank tops.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So I'll skim through his real quick. It's Cameron from San Diego. Has a question for all of us in our games. Most of the games he plays are games that come out every year, like the Maddens, the NBA 2Ks, and the Call of Duties. Every once in a while, he'll buy a game that looks good or interests him in between, similar to like GTA. He's never really had a large collection of games because he doesn't play games after he beats them. So his question is, do you often trade in your old games for new ones, or do you just buy the new ones and keep a collection? If so, how many do you guys have in rotation? Thanks, fellas. Keep up the work. Love your podcast.
Man, put it this way. I had a whole storage full of games. I really don't like trading games. That's why I decided to stick with a digital download for this generation. If there's, like, let's say if I have a pretty good game, part of my collection, I'll keep it. If there's so many games and there's some that I really don't play anymore, I don't care. I just give it to like one of my family members or my nephew and nieces for them to play and stuff. So I don't know. Like I'm not a fan of trading games. I haven't done that in years. So maybe P and Pasta, they're probably different, but
yeah, I weep every time I think about all the games I could still have right now if I didn't go through mass purges of trading things. So I pretty much have left just my 360 library at this point. Everything else did not survive, sadly. And in hindsight, I wish I'd kept it, definitely. But as far as like asking how many games I keep in rotation, 2 to 3 probably, maybe a fourth one. That's probably I like to switch between games. The problem now is both my Xbox and my PlayStation 4 are completely filled up with space. So now I'm literally having to delete things, including Sunset Overdrive, off of my hard drive to make room for other things. And that's getting annoying. So bring on more external hard drives, please, at reasonable prices. That would be great.
Well, actually, Amazon's got a 5 terabyte Seagate for $130. So
that's not bad. I don't know if I can fill
actually
5
just
terabytes.
just put in my order the other day. As soon as I saw that pop up on Amazon and Tiger Direct,
that's pretty cheap. Pretty cheap.
No, for 5 terabytes, it's amazing.
Yeah,
I've got a steady collection going back, even DS games and
even Dreamcast.
Yeah, actually I do.
Yeah,
I've shown you the Crazy Taxi. I think is the only one I still have here.
Oh man. Okay.
There was a time, that there was stacks of games that I did trade in because I was low on funds. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, and the wife hates it, but I do tend to stack games even though we don't play them.
Mm-hmm.
My wife just looked at me and said, I hate that. But yes, I tend to keep the collection. I kind of like looking at I like looking at the collection of games that we've had the opportunity to build up over time. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of like our trophy wall, right?
Yeah.
Some people go hunting for big game. We just go, we hunt games.
Yeah. That digital thing is killing it too. I'm with Danny. Like I'm starting to full on board the digital train. But like not having a collection to stare at, and like especially big thing, not being able to like let a friend borrow a game anymore, like it's starting to freak me out, man. We're going past that point of no return. Eventually, we're not going to be able to borrow games to each other's anymore in a worst case scenario. But I think that's years off. But for now, I enjoy the convenience.
And as far as a standard rotation, I would probably say it's between Ori, Hardline, and Destiny, mixed with a little bit of Star Citizen beta or alpha actually, and a little bit of Evolve. That's my steady rotation right at this point.
This one's from Kevin from Ohio. Shout out to Kevin. Hey GTR crew, I want to get your opinions on the announcement that Titanfall 2 is going to be multi-platform on Xbox One, PC, and PS4. Since Titanfall was exclusive to Xbox platforms and PC, do you think it was a mistake for Microsoft to not secure exclusive rights for the IP? In the long run, I can imagine the Titanfall becoming another great AAA exclusive game to add to Microsoft's library as it evolves, especially since it's an FPS. I'm confused as to why they would not secure exclusivity for the first game, but not secure it for the sequels to follow. So, good question.
Well, that's now from them and Microsoft. It's all up to EA if they want to make that happen or not. I think they will make more money if they have this game available for different consoles, besides just having it on Xbox One.
Yeah, that's straight the call of the publisher. I mean, name a third-party publisher that has that exclusivity to a specific, maybe Naughty Dog, but
no, they have the like with Capcom, the Dead Rising game that for Xbox One, and now this one for this year, Tomb Raider is going to be exclusive for the holidays. It's up to the publisher. I mean, if a company are willing to invest more money for that particular game, would you put those other companies in the same category as an EA or an Activision? Because obviously EA and Activision, they're the big pink elephants in the room, right? They're the biggest publishers in the video games right now. Would you put a Konami or a Namco or a Bethesda? I mean, those are all third parties. They're looking for cash. Yeah, they're looking for cash.
Maximum cash funding.
No, I agree. But see, Pete, all those companies have done this before in the past, either with just PlayStation or with having their games on Xbox. It's a business. If let's say Microsoft or Sony are willing to pay to help the development of the game and marketing and everything, they're going to go for that because that's going to be cheaper for the publisher. A lot of people don't see that. They just see it as, that's messed up. Why they're going, doing this exclusive for this console. Remember, behind the scenes, there's a lot more things that we don't know when it comes to the business side. You know what I'm saying? So
100% agree. And that's why at the end of the day, I think it's just a money grab.
Yeah.
Whoever throws up the most dollars, at that auction, they pretty much win.
Yeah.
And that's why it'll be really difficult for you to see a Destiny being a console exclusive or, Sony only or a Microsoft only. No, they're going for maximum cash grab, and they know going to, to all three is your best opportunity to succeed financially. Mm-hmm. Now, whether the game it's in and of itself is a success is a totally different story, but you have more opportunity for more dollars coming in if you put it in as many hands as possible, as opposed to, bottlenecking that cash flow.
Yeah, I think that's the key is market penetration, because in my opinion, I don't think a Titanfall 2 exclusive to the Xbox One would garner any more sales or a larger fan base than Titanfall 1 did. So by expanding your fan base to the Sony platform, you're just increasing brand awareness. So more people are willing to invest in future Titanfall titles because they have a chance to try it, see if they like it. They do, awesome. They can keep investing in future Titanfall updates or future titles. And I just don't think restricting it to the Xbox One would have been into their advantage, because yes, maybe 75% of the same people who bought Titanfall 1 would buy Titanfall 2, but you're missing out on who even knows how large of a number of people that may be sick of Destiny on PS4 and want to try Titanfall 2 instead. Maybe that comes out the perfect time to match up to be competitive, but I just think it makes business sense to, as you guys said, getting in as many hands as possible, because again, at the end of the day, brand awareness is everything. If they want to compete with something like Destiny, they have to be able to make sure anyone who wants to play Titanfall can play Titanfall. And that's the advantage that Destiny has over Titanfall right now.
See, like when Titanfall comes out, automatically people are going to think Xbox One. But when, let's say, the new Destiny comes out, Destiny 2, the majority of people are going to think of that game as a Sony game, as a PlayStation game. So I think it was a great introduction for Xbox to have that exclusive now, and they're still going to sell a lot of units. You know what I'm saying? So it happened the same thing with Final Fantasy, right, Posson?
Don't remind me of 13.
No, but I'm saying people.
But yes,
people don't see
business decision. Yes,
yeah, like people don't see that game as an Xbox game. They see that as a Sony PlayStation game, no matter what. Even if it's they have it for all different consoles out there. So.
I know. I think that stigma's gone now. Just like Metal Gear Solid, I think not there anymore.
I don't think so. I think it's still there, but who knows?
I don't know. It depends. Let's see the final product. And hey, actually, on that note, I'll use this extra bit of time. I played the Final Fantasy 15 demo, which comes with Final Fantasy Type 0, which I have not tried yet. I'd like to. So definitely, if anyone out there has tried Type 0, please give us your feedback. I'd like to know what it's like. But Final Fantasy 15, it's like a 2-3 hour demo that comes with it. Really fun game. Large open worlds, real-time combat, change abilities on the fly, visual looks gorgeous, cool aesthetic, cool style. If you just hated Final Fantasy 13 like I did, 15 is going to be so way more your speed because it feels like something fresh. It all comes back to, making a next-gen game that feels like a next-gen game. Like the kind of words I would use to describe, things like what Witcher 3 looks like, what Metal Gear Solid 5 looks like. I think that's also what they can accomplish right now with what they got. But again, remains to be seen. But
all right.
I like it.
So on that note, we're going to wrap it up. This was a long episode.
See, all it took was one fan mail asking for a longer show, and now you guys are giving it. That's awesome. See, we're here for the people.
All right.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
You were listening to Gamertag Radio.
By the way, I believe in 2 weeks, I'm probably gonna take a week off. I gotta go somewhere. Can't say where.
Yes.
So Pete and Parris and Poss are gonna take over. I don't know who's gonna be the host.
It's gonna be Destiny.
But I just hope this.
Destiny Talk Radio.
Is either gonna be Destiny Radio or PC Radio. So I don't know.
I'm okay with that. It's going to be the Gabe Newell Fan Fest.
So yeah, any feedback about that episode, make sure to send it to fanmail@gamertagradio.com or call us 76273-7GTR. That's 76273-7GTR. And make sure to hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff, man. So anything else, guys, before we wrap it up?
Just shout out. Play.it. Check us out.
Play.it. Poston.
I got nothing. I'm going to go play Bloodborne.
Okay.
So tempted to go get a PS4 just for that game now. Damn it.
Next week, I'm probably going to convince you to get a PS4. That's all I'm going to say.
Wow.
Next week? Wow.
Damn.
Okay, before we wrap it up, Poston, is it hard? Because honestly,
it is hard.
Is it like frustrating hard?
It's not frustrating hard. In full disclosure, I suck at Demon Souls and Dark Souls, so I am not probably even the target audience for this game. But I'm also kind of because they made this game to be more accessible for people that were intimidated by those games. So I think it's much more easy to pick up and play than those previous games were. And it's a much quicker sense of once you realize your capabilities, you can dominate, but it's all of like a mind over matter thing. It's a fear thing. Something may look intimidating. There may be a lot of enemies in front of you, but you can systematically destroy them if you know what to do and how to move and how to react and how to block. And it's one of the most satisfying combat experiences I've ever had. But again, next week I'll go full into it, but it is fun. And you get better. Think of the last time you actually felt like you were getting better at a game and you weren't just going through the motions of just using your existing skills. This is one of those experiences. It's pretty cool.
We'll save it for the show for next week. By the way, I finished Ori and the Blind Forest. Wow. That game is hard.
Okay, I'm up next.
Love it. Love that ending. Love it. So highly recommend it, guys. Download that game. So, all right. Until next week, Parris 4-3. We are out. Peace. Later. Peace. Man, let me tell you, we recorded episode 474 on a Thursday night. And then, usually I edit the show during the weekend and release it on Monday. But then I heard there was breaking news last minute today on a Friday, like during the afternoon, late afternoon. Zelda delayed to who knows when. And not only that, they are also skipping E3. So Zelda is not going to be over there at the Nintendo booth at E3. Wow. So last minute, I got together with Poston J. Poston, what's up?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I know he's crying over there in Georgia.
Might be the opposite. We'll talk in a second.
Okay. And also last minute again. Parris, what's up, Parris?
I'm supposed to be at the Call of Duty Championships. I ain't supposed to be here. What's going on?
I know, right? What the hell's going on?
The power of Nintendo dragged you in.
Yeah, so guys, your reaction, like, I know this is so last minute. We were not planning to record this at all, but I got together with everybody during the hangout, our little chat, private chat that we have. And I'm like, look, we have to talk about this because if we don't, then it's going to be, a week old. You know how it is. But your reaction about the news.
So here's my thought on this, especially since I'm not on anywhere else on the episode. I might as well jump in with this. So I have two thoughts. First, the fact that they're not showing it at all at E3 this year means it is not coming, because a lot of speculation on Twitter right now is that, it'll just come early 2016. It'll be a spring 2016 game. No way Nintendo skips an E3 without showing Zelda. So that means at best we would get holiday 2016, which also means we know with their news, the next E3 2016, they plan on showing off their new console. My crackpot theory of the week, this won't be on the Wii U. I think that's what this delay means. They're going to hold it to the new console, and it'll be a launch title for the new console.
No, he's directly quoted as saying he wants to make the best Zelda possible for the Wii U.
Okay, you keep believing that, but let's do some revisionist history. Hold on.
I'll side with you, and it might be on both systems, but it's not going to be on the new one. Go on.
What I'm saying is you can believe that all you want as far as them talking about the Wii U and everything, but let's do some revisionist history and remember with, what was it, Skyward Sword, Sky Sword, however you say the Zelda, that was originally supposed to be on the GameCube. It did show up on the GameCube, but guess what it also showed up on? It was a launch title for the Wii. So
you're thinking of Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess, there you go. See, I can't keep up with all these Zelda games.
Okay.
But my point is this. I'm concerned about this delay. That just for the simple fact that they're not going to have it at E3 this year. If they were still showing it at E3 this year and showing off some cool new features, I'm like, okay, a few month delay, they're going to tweak some things, is fine. But the fact that they're skipping E3 altogether tells me this delay is going to be a lot longer than people think.
I'm perfectly okay with that. I have no problem with it coming out a year from this holiday. There's no rush. I mean, it's like Miyamoto said, a rushed game is bad forever, but a delayed game is eventually good. So I'm in no hurry. If anything, I'm happy because now I don't have to buy a Wii U this year because I can just wait for more and more good games to come out, and hopefully a bunch of them are announced at E3. And then by the end of next year, then I'm definitely on board to get a Wii U with Zelda and all the other great games that came out from now until then. So
this is the thing that I noticed too. The timing on all this is kind of strange because just last week, besides the announcement about Nintendo making games for mobile, they also talked about their new console, codename NX. So the timing, I think Parris might be right with this, that they planned that out first, and then a week later they make this announcement about Zelda Wii U getting delayed and not released in 2015. It makes sense. I think that it's possible that this might come out for both consoles, for the Wii U and also for the new system. Now, I don't know if the system is going to come out in 2016 unless Nintendo shows something during E3 and surprise everyone. You never know.
Here's a question to ask yourself. If you're Nintendo, the Wii U's a failure. We can't get around that. It is not going to sell anywhere near to expectations for what Nintendo would want it to, right? So Zelda is quite possibly the biggest game that they've ever done in the history of Nintendo. I think that's fair to say, right? Yeah, why would you limit that game to 12 million people? Because that's what they're doing if they put it on the Wii U. There's only 12 million people that probably have a Wii U. Yeah, it'll push a few more people to probably go pick it up, like Boston was saying he would wait and go get it. But even then, let's say at best, 16 million people have a Wii U, get to play Zelda. I don't think Nintendo wants to waste the development time and the budget and just everything that goes with making this game and limit its audience. I think if they made this a showcase game on their new console and pushed it that way, this is going to get people to go out and buy their new console day one, and it could be a legit competitor to Xbox One, PlayStation 4, whatever, when this thing comes out, which my guess is probably going to be 2017.
Honestly, I could see myself buying one of those, because if I'm going to buy Zelda anyways, and I only buy a Nintendo console for Zelda, I would just probably skip the Wii U entirely and pick it up on the new system. Hopefully Bayonetta 2 would also make it to the new system, because I would sorely miss that game not having a Wii U. But for the most part, yeah, I would be fine with new and improved Nintendo hardware. I'm all for that.
I mean, it goes back to the conversations we've been having in the last few weeks anyways. In my opinion, Nintendo just needs to cut bait on the Wii U. They really do. It's never going to get traction unless they drop the thing to $99 or something. People aren't going to go run out and buy the system. Like you just said, Poston, you're waiting. Pete's waiting. Mandy's waiting. I mean, we got all these people that are waiting because they want that one game to go get. But by the time that game comes out, they're going to be moving on to the next console anyway. So I don't know. I think just like last time, I think with Twilight Princess, I think this Zelda is just coming out too late in this console's life that they might as well hold it off to the next one and just make it a launch game, which would incentivize people to go pick it up.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. But, I mean, what are they going to show at E3? What, they're going to push Star Fox? That is not a...
They could make it a big deal. It may not be a big deal to you, Danny, but there are hardcore Star Fox fans that have been burned in the past.
No, Potson, I love Star Fox. That's one of my favorite games for Nintendo's Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64.
Yeah, but I think that could be a big deal in today. I think there's a niche that needs to be filled for Star Fox in today's gaming
industry. That's not enough. That's not, honestly, Potson, that's not enough for people to buy a Wii U just because of Star Fox. I just don't see that, man. Zelda, I would have seen a lot more people buying the console just for Zelda. But, I mean, what are they going to show at E3?
They'll show that X Xenoblade sequel.
I'm a little worried, man. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I know we're only doing this for a few minutes, so I'll hold my longer comments to the next episode. But I just think the overall common theme that we're seeing with Sony even and Nintendo and, in some respects, Microsoft is the games that are going to define this generation aren't necessarily going to make it to 2015. That's what we're starting to see.
Well, they haven't made no announcements yet from Microsoft. Like, we all know Quantum Break is not coming out this year. That's 100% sure it's not coming out. But everything else, like the big games like Halo 5 and, all the other games, Forza and all that stuff, it's coming out this year.
Oh, no. I understand. And again, I don't want to turn this into a long thing, bringing Microsoft into it, but just my point, it as a gamer, it's disappointing that Zelda's not going to make it this year. And it doesn't look like, it's just delayed to spring. It looks like it's going to be a very long delay for this game. And that's disappointing because I want to play a new Zelda. I want to experience this open world Zelda that they're committed to, and eventually we will, obviously. And hey, if you got to delay the game to make it better, that's fine. Take all the time you need. But like I said, I'm just looking at this right now, and to me, it just really seems that this thing will not make it to the Wii U by the time it launches.
I don't know. For what I trust Enuma when he tells me these things, and when he says that they've discovered with the open world a way to completely just reinvent their whole gameplay system that is going to exceed his expectations, I'm going to believe that hype, and I'm going to give them that year and a half they're going to need for development time. But I think the ultimate product will be worth the wait. So I would, instead of having a somewhat open world Zelda game, I'd rather have the full vision and the full development time. And if that's a new system, then so be it.
Absolutely. I mean, I want Zelda to redefine the open world, RPG space, so to speak, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, that would be fantastic to me. So take all the time you need. I can wait. I'm patient. I'm a Nintendo fan, so I know to be patient.
Well, on that note, we're going to be talking more about this next week because I just want to keep this short and sweet. And I think we're good, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
All right, cool, man. Guys, thanks for listening. And this was a very, very last minute recording. So see you next week. We're out. Peace.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks for listening. Tune in next week.